Okay. Fucking reason?
Yes. That's from what I remember watching.
Bullshit.
Okay, well then let's find the video. Hold on, I'm trying to find the...
Do you walk backwards towards sidewalks from the roadway? Is that how you walk?
I mean, if I'm still shouting at somebody, I might.
Okay.
You can't push somebody for shouting at you. That's not illegal.
Okay, but you can push somebody if you're trying to get them dispersed for committing a previous crime, 18 USC 111.
I don't even know if they were committing a previous crime at that point. I'm not sure if that's been established, but
You might say it's not established, but do you think that that officer believed that he had the right to detain or disperse them based on that statute?
no.
Okay, so he's doing it for fun. He just
He's
likes.
doing it because he's mad.
Okay.
So like, here's So here's this. I'm linking you this here. Okay. This is a fucking.
Are you sending it to me in a direct message?
Yeah, this is a dog shit short video, but I'm just because it shows the start here. If you can find the full one or whatever. But like, this is my understanding of the first like big shove when Freddy puts himself in front of her. At this point, like, she's standing. Like, there's a car. I don't know. I think that car is parked. There's like a car behind her. This car looks like it's parked here. Like, what is he dispersing her from? He's mad because she's still shouting at him.
The
What is-
roadway.
That's her standing in the roadway.
Yes. If it's concrete, it's a road. You see how there's like a car there? Like where cars travel?
It's
and
parked. I think that
roadway?
car is parked.
And does that make it not a road anymore?
Is it like whack-a-mole? If I park on the side of the street and a cop is standing there, when I get out, do I have to like run as quickly as possible? Because as soon as I start the car, the cop could run and shove me?
No. But is there a substantive difference? This is where I do feel like we're just going to get wrapped in an axle, but that's okay.
Well, she's no longer obstructing. Well, if we talk about 18, if we talk about 18 USC, no, it's gonna be a wacky hypothetical. If we talk about your 18 USC 111 or whatever, right? What is she obstructing at this point? He's not. He's on the other side of the road.
She's been given a lawful order to disperse.
And she did.
No, she didn't. She's still in the fucking roadway.
She's not being told disperse from all roadways. She's being told if she was.
You don't know what she was ordered to do because we haven't fucking heard it.
Do you think he could have ordered her walk until you die?
No, but I think he could say, fuck off and get out of the road.
I don't think. Why the fuck would he have the right to say that as a fucking federal officer?
Because if we take a look at it, so I know Officer Nasty is saying, well, forcible, according to the 8th Circuit, applies to all the terms, and therefore, you know, they don't have a detention authority at all. But if we actually look up the statute, it says, like, forcibly impede, instruct, resist, intimidate, etc., etc.
Yes.
And if we can agree, I know you're smart enough that I could isolate these subcomponents, okay? So we could agree, well, hold on. Let's just see if we can make it further then. So at that point, if we have impede, intimidate, obstruct, whatever, ICE federal law enforcement officers, and he can articulate how they're impeding, obstructing, and intimidating, whatever, then at that point he has detention authority and he has the ability to disperse them.
I don't believe you get both. I don't think you always have the right to just shove somebody around when you could arrest them. I don't agree with that.
That's a different statement.
Well, you said detainment and disbursement, and you're using disbursement as a stand-in for just push somebody around.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that. Let me bring up a personal anecdote. So one of the reasons why I got frustrated when you were debating the fat MAGA guy is because it sounded like you didn't think that law enforcement officers have the ability to detain or disperse.
I didn't say that, and that's not what it sounded like. What I said is that if you're dispersing, when you're talking about like a crowd especially, it's not just a single person that you're shoving to the ground.
Okay, so let me bring up my specific example.
Okay.
So in my specific example, I was called to Walmart for a recently fired employee who they wanted trespassed from the location, but they did not want her to be incarcerated because they were basically thinking like, well, she's had a bad day, she's been fired, we don't want her to go to jail. Okay. So, but she's refusing to leave, which is a crime, which is trespass after warning. Okay. So I show up on scene and I say, ma'am, you know, the Walmart staff has notified me.
By the way, this is a quick fucking meme for chat. That's a really retarded thing, is to call the cops but say, I don't want this person arrested. Depending on the situation, sometimes it's out of the cops' hands, and also it's not your call once the police officers arrive. That's a really dumb thing to do.
Well, that's why I would say I was Officer McFriendly, okay? And I ordered this lady to disperse instead of detaining her because there's something called officer discretion.
Yeah.
So I got this lady's information. I got the trespass done. And then I told her, hey, you need to leave. And she's like, fuck you. She's like, fuck you. You don't have authority. You can't tell me where to go. This is a public place. And I'm like, no, I do. This is private. They've told me that they want you trespassed. You are trespassed. If you refuse to leave, I can incarcerate you.
Yes.
Okay? She's like, no, fuck you. You don't have that authority.
Okay.
And so what I do is I start walking towards her, similar to the way these ICE agents were walking to these women. She starts retreating. And I say, you need to leave. You need to leave. You need to leave. And she's like, no, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You can't do shit. You can't do shit. You can't do shit. And so what ends up happening is her mom shows up because she's like 18 or 19 at the time.
Her mom
and
is?
Her mom,
Hot.
like,
I'm just
what's
kidding.
that?
Go ahead.
Fuck you. Okay, so her mom shows up. And I'm like, ma'am, you need to take your daughter because right now she's refusing to leave after trespass after warning. I could detain her, but I'm trying to get her to leave. And so her mom eventually talks to her and gets her to leave. So the point of that is that there's a minor crime.
Wait,
okay?
how did this have? There's no relationship whatsoever.
Hold on, I want to finish this concept. The first time that she said, fuck you, you don't have authority to tell me where to go, I'm not going anywhere, I could have said, turn around, put your hands behind your back.
Correct, but you couldn't have just pushed her to the ground.
Resisting without violence.
Wait, you couldn't have, but you couldn't, but if she said, fuck you, I'm not leaving, you couldn't say, well, fuck you, boom, and just push her. You can't do that. You can arrest her if you want.
I probably could have said, fuck you, boom, and then like,
okay, I'm sorry, you couldn't have said no words and just shoved her. You can't do that.
Hold on. But I absolutely could have put my hands on her in order to escort her out of the building. 100%. And by the way, the shove is going to be like, I would, because I'm a nice person who was trained to treat people that I'm interacting with as if they're members of my family, I could grab a wrist or an elbow and escort them out of the building, or I could put my hands up to at shoulder level and I could gently walk with them while pushing them out of the building. Or if I was a sociopath,
none of these things,
and I had sand in my vagina, then I could push them, and if they trip, that's on fucking them. It's all considered hands-on. Pushing aggressively, pushing gently, and grabbing somebody by their wrist and elbow is all considered hands-on.
Okay. I think you fully agree with me 100%. I think the fact that every example you bring up is so unrelated, I think means that you know you fully agree with me 100%.
Wait, no,
so unless you have a different, you haven't brought nothing that you brought up
is making a point that you yourself have already conceded, which is effectively that an officer has the ability to force somebody to disperse or be detained, right?
Yeah, that's not a disagreement, though. I think we fully agree.
Okay.
I think we fully agree, and that's why.
Do you think that this officer thinks that he has the right to either force these people to disperse or be detained?
Disbursement here would be within the narrow confines of however she was obstructing or interfering with whatever operation they're doing, which at this point, I'm not even sure if there was one. I don't even know if that was the case, because I think that was just a field office on the other end of the street, okay? So it would be that. It wouldn't entail him banning her from the public street in front of the ICE building. So, no, I don't think he had the right to shove her to the ground outside there.
Okay, because I've already cited 18 U.S.C. 111, which is vague, very vague. That does give law enforcement officers detention authority for, like, you know, obstruction, impeding, intimidating, whatever.
Why did you just say that? Wait, I don't understand why you just said that. He didn't detain her. He assaulted her.
That's irrelevant. You already agreed with me that he has the authority to detain or disperse.
Disperse doesn't mean just randomly assault somebody.
If you have somebody who's violated a crime, I could have gently pushed that lady out of Walmart and would have been within my rights to do so.
I don't know if that's, I'm not sure if that's true.
It would have been a spectrum.
I think you could have done that as a way to be nice, maybe, in a roundabout way, but I don't know if that's actually true. If she was like, I'm not moving, I don't know if you could just push. I think you might have the authority to arrest her and maybe walk her out that way, but I don't know if you have the, I don't know if you would have the legal authority, or if it's even policy like, oh, just keep pushing her until she's off the grounds.
So where do you think that riot cops derive their authority to fire CS gas and pepper spray people and push people that they then don't subsequently arrest?
Because they're trying to de-escalate a situation that if it continues on the path that it's on is going to get further out of hand, and they're trying to bring a situation under control. And generally speaking, hold on. Generally speaking, I think that those are generally situations of practicality more than like legality. Like if you had a RoboCop that could arrest every single person in a crowd that was being tear gassed, they might have the authority to do it. Sometimes cops do run in and just start fucking arresting people, and I think generally those maybe they stand. I don't know if you need mens rea for the riding or whatever, but
I guarantee you, before pepper spray is deployed and before CS gas is deployed, there are orders to disperse, and an assembly is declared unlawful before they start doing that stuff. So everybody in the crowd at that point is subject to detention,
Sure.
probably under a violation of a municipal statute about unlawful assembly.
Sure.
Okay, so at that point, they're subject to detention or dispersal.
Yes.
So I'm pointing out to you that a cop with a riot shield
With
pushing
disbursement,
someone
no.
to get them to disperse, or
You
pepper
agree with
spraying
me.
them,
You
or
agree with
hitting them
me.
with
I'm
gas,
glad that we
it's
agree.
all
I'm
derived
glad
from
that we
the
agree.
authority that these people have committed crimes.
I agree, and I'm glad that we agree. If there was a crowd of people and you were trying to get somebody to move back, you could use your riot shield to push them. I agree. That's true.
No, I brought up a specific example that I used when I was in law enforcement, where I could have forced somebody to disperse, and it was an individual. There was no
So
crowd.
if she was on that, so if she was in the Walmart and she didn't want to move, you could push her until she fell over, and then she gets back up, and you push her until she falls over, and she gets back. You could do that 100 times until she's off the property.
Probably terrible officer tactics, but I think it would be legal.
I don't think so. I think that would just be assault. I think you'd be charged for it.
What are you going to charge me with?
For assaulting a lady. You can't attack somebody just because you're telling them to fuck off. They would say you should arrest them.
Hold on. Let me amend what I just said.
Okay.
Let's say that we're starting at the back of the store,
Yeah.
and I'm basically doing like a 6-foot shove to the ground over and over and over again, then eventually, like I would say after the first or second shove, you're probably going to be able to say that this is like excessive force, because you have the ability to detain, you have the ability to use a different move that is less likely to cause injury, therefore this is excessive force. But what I'm telling you is that, like, within the scope of going hands-on, a shove, grabbing somebody's wrist, putting somebody in handcuffs, even punching someone in the face, this is all considered the same category of thing.
I don't think you're getting into the crazier hands-on stuff until you're ready to make an arrest, or you need to make an arrest. I don't think you're ever using this just to push somebody around. I don't think that's ever
Hold
happening.
on, I want to clarify our disagreement.
Okay.
So you think that this officer, starting in the middle of the roadway, but ending by the side of the roadway in the shoulder, he, at the time of shoving the woman, he does not have the authority to detain and does not have the authority to order these people to disperse.
I think he can do both of those. I don't know about the disperse at this point, but even if I grant the disperse, none of that gives him the authority to just shove her at that point.
I don't agree. And I would challenge you to find a policy or a statute that supports your perspective.
Well,
You could argue it's excessive force because he's doing something within policy in an unreasonable way. But I don't think you have a law, and I don't think you have a policy that says that when you've ordered somebody
so
to
the law would
disperse,
just be
you cannot push them.
the law would just be assault, right? I mean, I would check. I guess I would have to go look up case law or whatever.
You are right, because effectively, law
Like the only time,
enforcement
hold on.
officers
Do you watch a lot of cop slap?
are
I'm somewhat of a cop slap connoisseur because I watch a lot of cop slap now. Okay, you watch a lot of cop slap on YouTube?
I love cop slap.
Generally speaking, the only time I've ever seen a cop shove somebody is when there's a person being incredibly obstinate that he's trying to take to the ground to arrest. Like that's part. I have never in my life seen a cop be like, "You need to leave." Well, I'm not gonna leave. Oh yeah. Ugh. I've never seen. I don't know if I've ever seen that in a cop video ever, except the one where Alex Preddy gets assassinated. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Is this something that you think you commonly see, where the cop's like, "You got to get off the property, ma'am"? She's like, "Well, I don't want to get off." Oh yeah. Well, what about now? I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Okay, and what do you have that backs up the fact that this is either a violation of policy or a violation of legality? And by the way, hold on, there's something important that I need to articulate that I think you articulated well that is true. Law enforcement officers are still subject to the same laws as citizens. However, they're given broader latitude in order to engage in what would otherwise be crimes in the performance of their law enforcement duties. So you're right that if you just like shove somebody randomly and there's no law enforcement purpose to said action, then you technically could be charged with battery or assault. That's totally true. But what this officer is gonna say, and once again, I'm willing to bet $50 on multiple things in reference to this thing, is that he's gonna say that I believe that these people were in violation of 18 USC 111. I gave them lawful orders to disperse. They refused to disperse. They were still in the roadway. Therefore, in order to force them to disperse and go to the sidewalk, I, gave them a push. And then at that point, Alex Preddy stepped in and rubbed my belly with his left hand, which I construed as assault on a law enforcement officer. Therefore, I decided that detention was warranted at that time, and I placed XYZ person under detention, and then I notified, Preddy that he was under detention as well. And that's not going to be...
Okay, hold on. Can you see...
Once again, I'll bet like $50 they're not getting charged. I'll bet another $50 if they are charged, they're not getting incarcerated.
Okay, watch my thing. What? Can you see my stream on Discord?
Yes, watching.
Okay. So, I'll be generous. I don't even know here if he has a right to tell them to disperse, because I don't know if there's some lawful operation or thing happening here. I'll grant it, I guess, but I actually don't even know at this point. And if I was having a super formal argument on this, I don't even think I would grant this.
Okay, so what? Pisco and I had this argument real quick.
Okay.
So 18 USC 111 has all the verbiage that I've already said. Forcibly, resisting, impeding, obstructing, threatening, et cetera, et cetera. Okay?
Okay.
Now, what Pisco has said is that the 8th Circuit has applied the adjective forcible to all of those descriptors, meaning that, like, you have to be able to articulate, like, physical force, I suppose.
Sure. It means, what I'm going to assume that it means, and I know I'm right, even without knowing any law or any case law, what I'm going to assume is when they use these broad descriptors, the reason why they're doing it is because having a 6'8" guy in front of you screaming at you, like, you're doing this, probably easily passes the threshold of, like, intimidation or harassment, right? But if he would have said, well, I didn't touch him, we said, well, bullshit, you're obviously obstructing. Like, the officer can't be reasonably expected to obstruct. That's my guess. It's not there, though, to cover 5'2" white wine moms that are holding a cell phone 20 feet away saying, fuck you, ICE, I hate you. I don't think it's meant to cover them. My guess.
Maybe not. But once again, I would say that they could and will charge under 18 USC 111, and I would be surprised if they were found for excessive force or any kind of detention, to be honest. And I don't think that's just because it's a Trump administration. I would argue that this would still be true under a Biden admin as well. The Biden admin just wouldn't have ICE agents being this aggressive and causing these scenarios in the first place.
Okay, so you're watching my stream, right?
Yes, I am watching the stream.
On Discord, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So here, I don't know if there's an operation going on. I don't know if you and Pisco figure this out or whatever. Looks like she's talking, shouting at the guy. Doesn't seem like there's an operation going on. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, we see Alex Preddy here in the street.
Doesn't that look like she already got pushed once right there, too?
I think she might have.
Yeah.
But at this point...
Like before this.
Sure. Yeah, I think she did. I think we see that in another video. But at this point, she's away... Sure. At this point, she's away from the car. What's he doing here? If he wants to arrest her, then go for it. But why is he... At this point, she's away from the car. What do you want to do? Like, why did...
No. Okay, so hold on. You're asking the question, and I want to answer it earnestly. So, if this, once again, 90% this cop has sand in his vagina, 10% he's serving a law enforcement purpose, okay? If this was a busier roadway, not only do I think that you would be able to articulate violations under 18 USC 111 that would allow you to disperse or detain said people, but I also think that you could articulate dangers of being in the roadway, where you're saying, like, not only are these people forcibly threatening, or whatever the fuck you want to say, in order to be able to write up the statute, but on top of that, when I lawfully ordered them to disperse, they remained in the roadway, and there were oncoming vehicles posing a hazard of injury to said people.
Are there oncoming vehicles? Are there oncoming vehicles right now that are posing a threat to anybody?
There was one earlier, and it was going 3 miles an hour.
And it drove around.
Weak, but I think it's something that you can articulate. And I think if this was on a highway, they would be perfectly justified.
If it was on a highway, we would be having this conversation because it would be a totally different set of facts. So it seems like not at this point. So he's pushed them or whatever. He pushed her again. Good job. He got him. Okay, nice. Now this lady here, this car, we agree this car is not moving, right?
It's parked. Yep.
Okay. Now this is the one that I just think, why? Like that just seems like assault.
Get out of the roadway. You're saying why?
Wait,
I'm
you just said
telling
she's parked. This car is parked here.
What does that have to do with the definition of a fucking road? Get the fuck out of the roadway.
So he's enforcing the don't stand in front of parked cars local ordinance?
At this point, he's probably enforcing the you violated this statute. I'm telling you to disperse. You're not dispersing.
I don't think that to tell somebody to disperse, I don't think you can shove them across the road over and over again. I think you have to decide if you want to make an arrest or if you just want to leave it alone.
Okay, I disagree with you, and I would challenge you to find a statute or a policy that says that you cannot use force in order to get people to disperse.
Well, that policy won't exist because typically when you're talking about getting people to disperse, you're talking about crowds of people.
Okay, so then you're kind of talking about an ought that's not codified.
I think it's just codified in assault. He would need a reason to shove her. I don't know what the reason is.
Okay, what do you think? What do you think the likelihood is that he's going to be charged with assault either at the state or federal level?
Again, I would say low, but because of political reasons, not because of criminal reasons. So I do the same 10-50 bet. $10 he gets charged, $50 he gets convicted.
Biden admin.
What?
Let's say that this scenario was identical and we were under the Biden admin. What do you think the chances are of him getting charged with assault at the federal level by the Biden administration?
This is the guy that shot twice, or I would say 85%.
I would say less than 1%.
Okay.
Sorry, just to be clear, you're saying that there's an 85% chance
that he'd be charged with some kind of crime here, yeah.
Shoved a civilian out of the roadway, that there's an 85% chance that the Biden admin would charge said officer with assault.
I would reject the syntax there of out of the roadway. She's not standing in the roadway. She's standing in front of a parked car.
It's a fucking road.
Do you think right now, do you think this officer would be within his rights to go double dragon and just like start kicking and shoving all of these people who are standing in the road? Preddy, the other woman, this woman, if he had like 4 arms, he could just like Machamp, he could just start shoving all of them to the sidewalk.
But I'm telling you that from a use of force perspective, a push, a punch, and grabbing somebody by their wrist and elbow is all considered the same shit.
I don't think so. I disagree with that.
I mean, it is.
Okay.
It is. What policy or what statute do you have that says otherwise?
I can't look it up on the spot. We could come back. I mean, we could look up, and I would be shocked if there's any use of force continuum. This is if you're trying to get somebody to move or you're trying to gain control of the situation, you can punch them or push them.
A push and a punch is considered like almost, well, I don't know about a punch specifically, but a push is 100% considered at the bottom of the use of force continuum. Like the use of force continuum, passive resistance allows you to go hands-on and use pepper spray.
Okay.
Active resistance allows you to go hands-on, use pepper spray, and tase. Violent resistance, but non-deadly force violent resistance, allows you to do everything, including the baton, except for the pistol. And then deadly force lets you use the pistol. So saying that a push is not at the passive resistance part of the use of force continuum is not accurate to my
Do you think you could find me?
You to find something that says otherwise.
Well, I can't find a negative. Do you think you could find me the positive of that in any federal or state enforcement manual that says this is when you push somebody?
Yeah, I could probably just go grab my my municipal policy book. Yeah.
Okay. When then, if you do this, or if you look at this up later, I'd be curious to see it because maybe I would change my mind if this is in fact the case. But when you do this, because if you do this, I have a feeling I already know where it's going to go. You're going to read part of it. It's going to be talking about dealing with crowds of people. When this is like a last resort, you have no other way to gain control of the situation. Or it's going to be talking about in the process of making an arrest.
Nope. You could just Google use of force continuum, and this is something that's been almost universally adopted nationwide.
Okay, I'll go do some reading.
Okay. I probably have to dip in 10. I am having fun. I want to do more, but I'm an old man with a family, so I might have to dip in 10.
Sure. I'm just reading from the NIJ, the National Institute of Justice.gov. This is from 2009, so maybe we've got more violence since then. I don't know. Most law enforcement agencies have policies that guide the use of force. These policies describe an escalating series of actions an officer may take to resolve a situation. This continues generally at many levels. Officers are instructed to respond with the level of force appropriate to the situation at hand, acknowledging the officer may move from one part of the continuum to another in a matter of seconds. I would say that no matter what, it was obviously an inappropriate escalation of force. I don't think you needed to shove her, but okay. An example of a use of force continuum follows. Officer present, no force is used. Consider the best way to resolve a situation. The mere presence of a law enforcement officer works to deter crime or diffuse a situation. Officers' attitudes are professional and non-threatening. Verbalization. Force is non-physical. Officer issues calm, non-threatening commands such as, let me see your identification or registration. Officers may increase their volume and shorten commands in an attempt to gain compliance. Short commands might include stop or don't move. Empty hand control. Officer uses bodily force to gain control of a situation. Soft technique. Officer uses grabs, holds, and joint locks to restrain an individual. That makes sense to me. Hard technique. Officer uses punches and kicks to restrain an individual. That also makes sense to me. We have less lethal methods. Officers use less lethal techniques to gain control of a situation. Blunt impact. Officer may use a baton or projectile to immobilize a combative person. Makes sense. Chemical. Officers may use chemical sprays or projectiles embedded with chemicals to restrain an individual. Makes sense. Conducted energy devices. Officers may use CEDs to immobilize an individual. CEDs discharge a high voltage, low amperage jolt of electricity at a distance. And then lethal force. They may use lethal weapons to gain control of the situation. Can only be used if a suspect poses here. Okay. I don't know in what part of this you're just shoving people around.
Okay. Well, what I would say is if you scroll up to above less lethal.
Okay.
Go to empty hand control.
Yeah.
So exactly what I told you. Sorry, can you just scroll up just like an inch? Yes, there we go. So what I would say is soft versus hard technique are both under the same umbrella of empty hand control. And so these things are articulated as things that you can do at the passive level.
What?
Now,
Hold on, wait, hold on.
I don't think striking people...
Hold on. Have you ever seen a YouTube video called The Protagonist Throw?
I have not.
So it's a thing in action movies that when you see it, you can't unsee it, and it's very annoying, okay? But basically, in every single action movie, okay, and you're a man who's seen combat, okay? Probably more than me. Well, mine was just an all DV situation, so... Okay, in a situation where you're fighting somebody and you clearly have the upper hand, all right? You clearly have the upper hand, and this happens so many times in movies. What the antagonist always does is he takes the protagonist and he throws them to the other side of the room. And this is stupid for 50 million reasons, because if you have control, you would just hold them and kill them or do whatever, right? And when you throw them...
and it's like a gargantuan monster that could kill you in a single punch, but they keep throwing them.
Yes. All of the techniques that are listed here are to gain control of or restrain an individual. Shoving somebody away does the exact opposite of that. None of these techniques...
You think punches restrain an individual?
Officers use punches and
kicks restrain an individual?
Officers use punches and kicks to restrain an individual. As per the thing listed here, yes. If they're heavily combative, you might have to fight. Yeah.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that so this didn't pull what I wanted it to pull, but it still pulled enough that I still think it's accurate to what we're talking about. Can you Google the term passive, active, violent resistance? Can you just type those terms into your Google search and see what pops?
Yep.
I kind of want more than just passive, like if it actually shows the entire continuum. But if you want to click on the first one and just see where we get, that's totally fine.
Method involves deliberately disobeying such laws to advocate for change or to secure concessions from authorities, often associated with civil disobedience. Passive resistance emphasizes peaceful protest and the moral obligation to challenge unjust regulations, blah, blah, blah.
Hey, can you type in, like, passive resistance, use of force?
Hold on, wait. This thing just popped up for Vermont legislature. I understand. So passive resistance. This looks like it comes from some cop thing. Proposed language to use in CEW model policy. A subject refuses with little or no physical activity to appropriately respond to the officer. Examples include subjects who offer little or no physical or mechanical resistance upon contact, but who refuse to act or respond to an officer's attempt to take him or her into custody, stand back or walk when directed, or stand when or walk where directed, or put their hands behind their back as directed. Passive resistance are often present during public demonstrations or other lawful protests. Passive resistance is such, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Contact controls. Measures designed to gain compliance or take custody of passively resistant subjects include, but are completely limited to, verbal commands, low... This is fucking cut off. Hold on. Seriously? Wait, maybe I can copy paste it. Okay, maybe we can guess what the words is, or the words are. That are completely limited to verbal commands, low level. I'm guessing this is physical control techniques, such as a compliant or non-compliant escort, non-forceful physical guidance, or other low-level physical control techniques, such as a front or rear wrist lock. The use of OC spray, a CEW impact weapon, police something, empty hand strikes, and body strikes and/or takedowns are strictly prohibited. Now, this is just a suggested language, so maybe this didn't make it in, but this seems to kind of jive with what I was saying, I think. I don't think you're going to find
it. It kind of
anything.
jives with what you're saying, but then you're saying like a push is equivalent to like a kick or a punch.
I would say almost worse, but yeah. All right, it's in that ballpark. Like, by the time you're pushing people, in my mind as a police officer, from all the stuff I've seen, if you're pushing, kicking, or punching, it's because the other person is like, we're fucking fighting, let's go. Somebody's dying, or we're fighting, and you're trying to arrest the person. I don't think a cop can just be like, you're fucking annoying. Ugh!
Yeah, it's not you're fucking annoying. It's you've committed a crime, and I want you to disperse, or you're under detention.
Yeah, but you can't make somebody move like that as a cop. You can arrest them.
What do you mean I can't make somebody move like that as a cop?
As in, you can't just shove somebody around because you're a police officer. You have the authority to arrest them if you think they're breaking the law that much and they're refusing to obey orders.
Wait, but Steven, you're asserting this and it's just not true.
Okay.
So for instance, like when law enforcement officers are creating a crime scene and they're setting up like caution tape and there's a ton of people just standing around milling about and they're being told to fuck off and they don't fuck off, you're saying cops can't push those people in order to get them to move?
If they're literally about to infringe on like the crime scene, then yeah, they could. But like this is like
yeah, and then are all those people subject to detention immediately thereafter because they refused a lawful command and they were pushed?
They could be, yeah.
No, could be. I'm saying, are they? And the
when you say
no.
are they subject, wait, hold on. I'm sorry, stop. When you say are they subject to, my understanding is would the cop have the legal authority to? Or I'm sorry, would the cop do it? Whether or not he has a legal authority to, would he do it? Is obviously this can differ from cop to cop. But in my mind, if a cop is ever shoving somebody, then they're over the threshold of being arrestable.
They are over. Well, that's my argument to you, is that these people are over the threshold of being arrestable.
Sure.
But
if he wants to arrest them, that's fine. But the cop.
I need to articulate this.
You're just going to say the same thing you've said a million times.
I need to articulate this. They are over the threshold of being arrestable. However, it's up to an officer's discretion on who he detains and who he doesn't detain.
Yeah, but if you decide not to detain somebody, that doesn't mean you're going to assault them.
Amount of force in order to get people.
That's not the minimum amount of force.
In line with his purview.
He's not the minimum. That's not the minimum amount of force.
Hey. Do you want to go back and read your empty hand statement again? Hey.
Sure.
And by the way, we should probably look up the specific guidance for federal officers, but I'll read the
empty hand control is officers use grabs, holds, and joint locks to restrain an individual, or punches and kicks to restrain an individual. My guess is that this is.
I think the use of the word restrain is silly here, but that's okay. I actually meant the
hold on. This is what you're missing, because it's not silly, because that's what you're doing as a cop. You're restraining somebody. You're not just beating people up. Cops aren't just there to like, whoa, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Hold on,
you're saying that the cop here in his job, he can just fuck this woman up because she's breaking the law. You can't fuck people up. You can arrest them. No,
you're making up. Hold on. You and I are, and also I wanted to go to the thing where it's like, aggressive techniques like XYZ ABC are strictly prohibited. That's the one that I wanted to take a look at. But, so, hold on. I go into a boxer stance and I punch you in the face. Has me punching you in the face restrained you?
It depends on what's going on.
Okay, the answer is no.
Hold on, stop. No, stop. Hold on. You're contorting yourself into such weird things. If you come to arrest me, you are. If you come to arrest me and I throw up my mitts and I go, all right, let's go. Could you punching me be a part of your detaining of me?
100%.
Yes. Okay. So then when you ask me, is punching somebody partly a part of like arresting them? Yeah, it can be. Yeah, for sure. Cops get into fights with people. Yes.
Okay, we might be talking past each other. I'm reading this perhaps autistically. Officers use punches and kicks to restrain an individual. Okay?
Yes, as part of somebody that's being combative that you're trying to arrest.
Like the lay definition of restrain, but when I think of kicking someone, at the end of that kick, they are not restrained.
No, but it's part of a.
They're not restrained. Yes, I understand. I'm being autistic. It's the through line to obtain compliance so you can restrain a person.
Yeah,
I understand. We're talking past each other. Okay, please go to the other thing that said like this, this, and this are strictly prohibited.
Sure. And to be fair, this was a suggested language for in Vermont, a proposed language to some.
We should probably actually look at like federal use of force documentation, but I'm okay to work with this as like a preliminary framework.
Okay. Well, also this is just yeah. I mean, okay.
Yeah, can you just read what at the passive resistance stage, can you read what's permitted and what's prohibited?
At the passive stage, measures designed to gain compliance or take custody of passively resistant subjects include, but are completely limited to, verbal commands, low-level physical control techniques such as a complaint or I'm guessing this is probably supposed to be compliant, such as a compliant or non-compliant escort, non-forceful physical guidance, or other low-level physical control techniques, such as a front or rear wrist lock.
Okay. So what I'm saying is we can look up the specific federal guidelines. But what I'm saying is a push, even though this was obviously a hardcore push, is going to fall under the quote-unquote lower level empty-handed techniques. Because a punch and a kick, in my opinion, are going to be infinitely more likely to cause injury than a push. Now, you can say context dependent, right? Because if you shove somebody over a sidewalk, they trip on the curb and they smash their face into concrete, you obviously caused injury through a push. However, like I would say, putting my arms up and gently pushing that woman outside of Walmart, that's obviously not likely to result in injury. So yes, the officer is ass mad, but what I'm telling you is the policy is going to recognize push, and it's not going to differentiate between like, gentle push versus hard push. That's like a level of nuance not captured by the policy.
I think that it would absolutely be recognized that if two kids were like going at it, or like a husband and wife or whatever, and a cop was like standing in between or like holding somebody back or pushing somebody back, that's going to be seen way differently contextually than this ass-paying cop like chasing this woman across the street, shoving her over and over again for the third time. Like he's not gaining control, and I mean it's evidenced by the outcome. He's not gaining control of the situation. Everything is getting even further out of control of the situation here.
Well, hold on. Now I'm going to be a dick. Does punching someone in the face help you gain control of a subject?
If they're resisting arrest, it could, yeah.
Okay, hold on. Is somebody on the ground easier to gain control over than somebody who's standing up?
Yes.
Can I leg sweep somebody as a law enforcement officer if I plan on detaining them?
Well, it's a little John Wick, but probably, yeah.
Okay, so at this point she's on the ground, so she's easier to detain, right? And as we've already established, not at the passive level, but at some level, you're allowed to punch and kick people in order to gain compliance, so you can restrain them.
Do you see the? Hold on. Do you see? Wait. Do you see the trick you just played there? Wait. You see the trick? You see the trick? You see the trick that you just played there, Connor? Come on, you heard it. Yes,
I did that trick on purpose. Yes.
Because she wasn't being active. If I get pulled over, my license plates are expired. Okay. This happened to me, and the cop said, "Get out of the car." And I get out, and when I stand up, she punches me in the face. And she says, "Well, Connor, this helped me arrest him, didn't it?" It's like, yeah, but the guy wasn't physically resisting. She was not physically resisting the officer in any way that gave rise to her being shoved, 6 feet away into the sidewalk.
Well, I think you're being imprecise with your terms, because passive resistance can still be considered physical, even if they're not like active and passive. Passive is still physical. So if I stand in front of you, plant myself in the ground, you tell me to put my hands up and I refuse to do so, and I actually impede you from moving in a certain direction, it's still physical. I'm just not like forcible against you.
My guess would be, and here's the thing, that if you can find me a policy of this, then I'll say, okay. If you are, if you have a person who is just like refusing to move, my guess is you have the option to either arrest them or ignore them. I don't know if you can just shove them into the ground. I don't know if that's like an option that police officers have. You can just start shoving everybody. Like we've brought the shover boys, and they've all come to shove all the civil disobedience people, to keep shoving them away until they're gone, like a bulldozer.
I would argue this gets back to whether or not officers have discretion to disperse or detain. And my answer is yes. Your answer is no.
No,
What
that's
I'll
not true.
do-
I would agree. I think that they totally have the ability to disperse or detain. So, like, if he was doing something really important, I don't know what the fuck it could be, but if he was doing something really important here at his car and she's like right up in his face and he like pushes her back, he's like, get the fuck away from me, like get back, excuse me, or whatever. Then okay, sure, I get it. But the triple double dragon push into the smashing her face into the sidewalk, shoving her 6 feet across the street. At that point, contextually, I don't know what he's defending. I don't know what situation he's trying to gain control over. Seems like he's just really fucking mad at the woman. Maybe he hates white people. These two people who are Hispanic, right? Maybe that is the great replacement is happening. And Lauren and Fuentes and everybody were right. Or JD Vance and all the Stephen Miller, all the new wave of white replaced people are right. And maybe he's just trying to kill white people. But I don't know. The pushing across the street multiple times, that's just crazy to me.
Okay. Well, what I'm gonna
Damn
do,
it.
because I'm already 8 minutes late to something that I have to do.
Okay.
I will find you I'll try to find the specific federal use of force continuum that includes like active and passive resistance for your review. And then barring that, I'll try to find something that backs up what I've said specifically. But once again, I would back up everything that I've said today by the chances of Renee Good, officer, getting charged, I would put at $50. I would also pay $50 if they were convicted. And then same here with the Preddy shooting. We didn't get to the shooting yet, so I mean, we could revisit this another day. But basically, like, I would bet $50 that these guys are not going to get charged. I would bet another $50 that if they're charged, they're not going to get incarcerated.
Sure.
Now,
I like
that has
to,
nothing
in
do
my
with
mind,
morality.
I focus a lot on the lead up
ahead.
here because I am a big fuck around and find out guy. If there's like officers that are making seemingly like an incredibly lawful arrest and you decide to intervene in that circumstance in any way physically, even if that just means like putting your body there, I think you're, that's pretty wild on a civilian side, but I feel like this Alex Preddy guy like tried to do almost like the optimal cuckoldry shit. Maybe he shouldn't have moved as close to the officer. I'm not even sure if he touched the officer. He's doing fucking jazz hands.
Do you
like,
want to play that real quick? Just real quick.
what?
Just like the whole when the Preddy almost or doesn't make contact with the officer and then he does his jazz hands.
Sure. I need the footage from the front of the car.
Oh, I thought that was it. If that's not it, it's not a big deal. We could do this.
Well, it's you have to see the footage from the front of the car because from this perspective, people will argue that he did touch the cop. You can't really see
doesn't
like
it,
right
doesn't
there.
it look like he grabs his belly there for a second?
It kind of does from this angle, but I think from the front of the car, I think that it's I don't know if the guy ever even touched him. Wait, real quick, hold on. It'll take me 2 seconds. Somebody link me this real quick. You motherfuckers have all the most retarded fucking links all the time. Link me what I'm asking for. Motherfuckers in chat.
Always.
Car footage, Preddy shooting. Hold on. Oh, thank you. We need to bring back the trusted flyer, okay? Whoever does my flyers.
All right, so this is the start of the confrontation. What I hear in the video, which we just one says, "Do not push them into the traffic." The other responds, "I'm pushing them."
Okay, so here he shoves the lady,
away
and then this is where Preddy
from-
intervenes. I don't know if he ever touches the cop. Like,
Yeah, let's see that real quick. And then I'm looking for like the belly rub. That's what
it would have been right here. This is
Well, so hold on. So was the belly rub before
unclear.
the jazz hand?
like no, it would have been like right.
The other responds, "I'm
Here's the
pushing
big shove.
them."
That's the big shove, and then this is when Preddy goes over to her, and then is kind of in front of the cop. But it would happen like I don't know if he
Right.
ever even touched the cop.
Yeah, the I think unfortunately, can you rewind frame by frame just to right before the jazz hand or whatever? I think that we're off by like a millimeter to actually see it. And by the way, like I could articulate that like anytime you touch a cop, it's like battery on a law enforcement officer or whatever. But obviously, it's like it's pussy shit. You know, somebody touches your fucking belly or whatever. Yeah, maybe like, hey, fuck off, buddy. Like you're gonna get detained now because you touched my belly. But realistically, like, you know, should you get so fucking ass pained? Probably not. But yeah, like this is where we have like the legal distinctions that I get frustrated by. because according to Pisco, the officer would have to be in fear. Okay, hold on. Let me caveat this, because he got mad last time I misrepresented his position. So let me say that this is my understanding of what Pisco was saying in reference to assault. What he was saying that even if Mr. Preddy gently touched the officer, he didn't have not only did he not have the requisite intent to do battery or assault on a law enforcement officer, but it would be unreasonable for the law enforcement officer to infer hostility from Mr. Preddy's actions. And I don't think that's true at all. So
so this is part of why I think I don't divorce the legal from the ethical as much. I think that when you start acting in certain ways, I think that it's going to dramatically change how you should perceive the other people around you. Like, if I walk in, if there's a woman in front of me, and me and my cop friend walk in, and there's 10 men in the room, and we're like, we have to arrest this woman, and we walk towards the woman, and we go to arrest her, right? There's two ways that all the men in the room could respond. They could just sit there and watch, or they could all get up, and they could start, like, approaching, and it's like, okay, this is about to be a bad situation. I have good reason to believe that these guys are about to, fuck shit up, because they don't want me to arrest this woman. As opposed to, if you walk into a room, and you're like, I'm here to arrest this woman, and then your cop friends are fucking wailing on her, and the guys get up, it's harder at that point to know, like, well, are they getting up because they want to fuck us up, or are they just genuinely concerned about the well-being of the woman? Because now your behavior has impacted significantly the perceptions and the behaviors of the other people around you. And I think that's meaningfully...
I think on a human level, that's logical to infer, yes.
Okay. Well, you said words there, but yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
No, but then my beef is we end up back at legality. But I am 15 minutes late. I'm happy we were able to spar in a way that we were contentious without being
damn it,
shitty. So I had fun, and I hope you had fun too.
I always have fun. I love you, Connor. Be careful.
Right. Bye, buddy.
Bye. Get a load of this guy. As an election issue.
Need to
due to stagnant pain, feeling undervalued, you kind of start thinking while you're working on your boss's third house if you're ever going to be able to buy a house. He worked for Linus Tech Tips for how long and couldn't afford a house? I wonder how much he was making or what his job was. I never believe disgruntled employees, okay?
Hey.
Do you ever feel like you're giving Vosh the benefit of the doubt being a liberal ally?
Hey.
Do I give Vosh that benefit of the doubt? That guy is super gooped up. Look at how slow he was walking.
Adjudicate whether or not a president's committed a crime. Trump has not been found guilty on any of these fronts. Now, before we end, I think it is worth pointing out, we've talked a lot about Trump, and there's no evidence he's engaged in any corruption. However, we haven't talked about the Somalis, who have committed, by the most conservative estimate, $1 billion in fraud, potentially up to $9 billion in fraud, merely on...
Wait, are you citing the number of Nick Shirley in the back of the car just adding up numbers and not understanding anything?
No, I'm happy
from the, like, illiterate journalist? Is that what we're talking
let's go
about?
Through the numbers.
No, I think... Hold on.
You hold on. The numbers.
What I'm challenging you is you completely...
Holy shit! Why do you go away from the consoles? Because I wanted to download from the other consoles. You are resetting them? Wait, do you have to stay near them the whole time? Oh, well, fuck me. Well, now I fucked it up. Up. Did that girl look like the Ramona Flowers actor?
Go through the numbers.
No, I think... Hold on.
This? Am I crazy? Yeah, stop rage baiting me. What, you have to stand near the whole time? Really? That's retarded. Am I allowed... Is this a hot take?
Hey.
Wait, where is the public opinion on that 10 Cloverfield Lane movie? I thought that was a good movie. Do most people think that? Or is that a hot take? Okay.
Hold on.
The numbers.
What I'm challenging you is you completely have moved on from the crypto point by trying to talk about the emoluments clause. and you've
No, he
completely
brought up the emoluments clause. I didn't read that.
Yes, but you've completely brushed over the fact that Trump has started a coin that is completely worthless, had all of his supporters buy into this, and then rug pull them
It's
for
not
hundreds of
completely
millions.
worthless, obviously.
It
Your
is-
claim is
it
that
is
he's enriched
complete-
himself through it, so it obviously has
Yes,
value.
it's worth.
And you can't cite a
it's
law
worth
that he
nothing.
broke.
It's worth nothing. I didn't say
But
it was
you're trying to
illegal.
get off the
You're
Somalis.
talking, no, I'm
You're
trying
trying to get off the
you
Somalis,
to
which
get
is half
off
the
of
question.
the emoluments clause so you can talk about the crypto coin and how much it is insane that he said, "Hey, give me millions of dollars for this worthless
What law
coin."
did he break?
I didn't say anything
Oh
about
my God.
illegality. I'm saying
Okay,
this
there
is
you go.
corrupt
Well, the
and this is
Somalis
fraudulent.
broke a
See, he's doing the thing. Everybody, liberals need to do this, okay? Listen. I'm giving you the... What is that stupid fucking meme or whatever? He did theory so he could do practice. I'm giving you the theory, okay? You have to take these into these debates where these guys are too scared to talk to me, all right? Republicans always do this thing where Democrats have to act completely and totally moral at all points in time, and the only thing that restricts Republicans is the law. He just did it. Whoa, you think Trump coin... Huh, you think it's a scam, bro? You think it's a scam? I'm sorry. What's the law that he broke? You're asking me what the crypto law broken was by the president that came in and got rid of all of the crypto regulation? Oh, good one, dude. Very smart. What a smart question. You're such an intelligent individual. Very smart. Dipshit.
Is it not fraudulent that Donald Trump stole millions of dollars from his supporters?
It's not fraudulent at all. There was no fraud. There was no deceit whatsoever.
Was it
and
corrupt?
it's still
Was it
valuable.
for corrupt to use his office and his position of power to steal millions of dollars?
He wasn't
from
in
supporters?
office when he started the coin.
He used his popularity.
Did he start that coin after he won the election? I feel like it was after he won the election. Am I wrong? When did Trump coin start? He might not have been in office yet, but I think it was after he won the election. What a stupid technicality. He's such a bad faith, disgusting fuck.
From being in office.
His popularity from being in office?
Yes.
Do we really want to go
Okay,
down
so,
that road
so
with
just to
Barack
be clear,
Obama
you're,
and Joe
you're,
Biden?
you're,
What did God, oh my God, I'm having a bad moment right now. I'm sorry. Jesus.
defense,
I don't
your
think-
defense.
What did Barack Obama and Biden, did these guys sell crypto coins? What is the comparison here? Why even make the comparison?
Hundreds
Your
of millions of
defense.
dollars.
Well, it was 2 days before the inauguration, so it's okay that he stole the
He
money,
wasn't
right?
in office.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
point-
okay. That's
Oh, and you see that? You see how Knowles responded there? I'm sorry, I'm making the mistake again. You guys should be calling me out on that. Don't call them stupid. They're evil. The reason why Knowles just said that, because Soypil pointed out, right? Well, okay, he wasn't in office yet. It was like 2 days before. And then Knowles like, yeah, he wasn't in office. So Knowles knows that it was after the election. He knows that he was trading on his election popularity. He knew that already. Fucking loser.
just to be clear about it. Your defense is he wasn't in office. It's fine to steal money
Yeah,
from his
private
supporters.
citizens, especially one of the most successful
so
businessmen of our
Michael's
lifetime.
Also, that's another truism, okay? We got to get rid of all these truisms about Trump, about politics in general, but especially about Trump. He's not the greatest businessman ever. He's not one of the greatest businessmen ever. Pretty sure most people have ran the numbers and said that if he would have just fucking index fund his money when he was born as a little trust fund baby, he would be wealthier than he is now. The only reason why he is as wealthy as he is now is because of all the money and reputation that he traded on in The Apprentice. He's wealthy as a quote-unquote businessman in the same way that that I made, hundreds of thousands of dollars as a professional StarCraft 2 player, right? I mean, technically that's true, but I made my money streaming. It's a different thing. Hi, what's up? Wait, did I get this one yet? So you have to push the red button, and then you sit here and wait while it turns yellow, and then eventually it's going to stop, and then you can download it. And you can do that one time for, I think, 8 different machines.
Good, thanks.
Ew. Maybe I sounded not American. Did I download this one yet? I don't remember. Opinion on Soypil's hat? I fucking hate it. Oh fuck, I already downloaded this one. Which is probably good. That's probably the point of it, is to trigger the fuck out of people. So if that's his goal, it works. So I would say success. Okay, since I can start download, that must mean I don't have this one yet. I would assume so. So what's the max you can get? Prying Mind said 9,600. Okay, so I'll be a little bit short. Wait, somebody said nope? Wait, you mean that my logic is not sound there? So maybe I've already done this one? You can always start download. Oh, fuck. Do you remember if I did this one or not? Trump could have just invested the $400 million he got from his father and lived on that. Instead, he had failed venture after failed venture in the night. No, I'm not even saying that he ran from that one and didn't download it. This one? Okay. I'm not even saying that that he could have lived off the interest. I'm saying that he would have been wealthier if he would have just invested the money instead of trying to do all of his fucking real estate shit. I don't know what his most successful business venture even was. I don't know if anybody can even name it, besides The Apprentice. How far is this? Okay. Fuck it. Good enough.
Conceit here is that his supporters are stupid, and it's fine because Trump
Never
was
made
the
that
president
point
at
at
the
all.
time. Yeah,
On your
okay.
point, though, before the bell rings, because you were cutting me off on Somalis because you don't want to hear it, the Feed Our Future scam was the largest fraud of COVID, of the pandemic, $250 million in that alone, $100 million.
I thought it was $104 million. I thought that was what the ultimate charge was for. Where's it getting where's it getting 250 mil from? I might have just missed it already, but... Also, largest fraud. I thought the PPP stuff was considered the largest fraud. Are we not counting that as a single thing? But we are going to count all the feeding your future stuff as a single thing.
Of fraud when it comes to daycare, $14 million of fraud already admitted to by a Somali.
Wait, they weren't in office,
when it comes
were
to
they?
autism
These
therapy.
Somalis weren't in office?
No, they're in our country.
No, they weren't in
and we're
office.
going to kick them out.
He's still profiting off Trump when he's the president, right? Yeah, he still has the ownership stakes. Bro. I don't have a defib, but I got bandages, so.
I mean,
Just tell me when you start losing life. Yeah, sure. Well, sure. I just don't want to. Are you losing life?
not a lot right now.
Such a pussy, just kill him. Bro, this guy sounds like Jamaican. You think I'm just gonna kill this dude? This is my bro. This is my homie. Do I really not have a defib? I don't.
Thanks.
Actually, I'm sorry, dude. Nah, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that to you. Don't worry. He's mad. He's rage baited.
Thanks.
No problem. Good luck, buddy. The Chase passive income account. We stand this Twitter account. Just met a 17-year-old making $250,000 a month. He works 2 hours a week. Everything is done with AI and automation. He's on track to have $10 million stacked by the time he's 21. The best part of all, I completely made up this story. Oh. He's generally got some good ones. My son called me crying. Dad, school ended 4 hours ago. What the fuck? Jesus. I'm still waiting for you to pick me up. Click. I hung up. Weak pitch. No clear call to action. Didn't give me a reason to care. I went back to cold emailing billionaires. He'll have to learn a better way to get my attention if he wants my help. I feel like I tweeted out some stupid thread about my dad abusing me or whatever, and it made Andrew Tate block me after he tweeted out that stupid, my dad used to beat me up and teach me chess thing. I don't remember what my tweets were, but... Hired college students to promote my vending machines on social media. Now the students in my town don't go to bars or restaurants. They all eat and party at my vending machines. Plus, take over the market. Was it this? No, but it was after this. Ender's Game was better, to be honest. I made a series of tweets after this. This was stupid, though. When I was 8 years old, a couple of 10-year-olds used to bully me on the school bus. One day I started crying to my dad, saying I didn't want to get the bus. I didn't want to get, I'm guessing I'd get on the bus. I told him why. He sat drinking whiskey and playing chess at 9 a.m. Didn't even look at me cry. He replied, "Your lunchbox is sharp, son. Go to school." I was too afraid not to listen to my father, so I obeyed. He didn't give sympathy. Didn't even seem to care. Didn't show remorse. Didn't ask the kids' names. Nothing. It was here I realized no one was going to save me. It was up to me. That afternoon on the ride home, they started as usual, pulling my backpack from behind and calling me names. I sat there and didn't say anything, hoping they'd stop. 10 minutes in, one slapped me on the side of my face. I remember the sting to this day. My ear was ringing. No, in the UK we say, "Get the bus"? Oh, okay. I sat in silence, stinging face. A few minutes later at my stop, I stood and swung my plastic Batman lunchbox as hard as I could. I caught the kid right above his eye. Keith was his name. And like a boxer's cut from a prize fight, his eyelid began squirting blood all over the bus. I remember his screams and the look of pure horror on his friend's face. I sprinted and ran straight up the bus. The cut was deep, the blood was thick. He will be scarred for life. To this day. Yes, that's what for life means. I ran so fast, I didn't notice that my lunchbox had actually shattered. When I got back, I held a handle and a piece of shattered plastic, barely resembling the square it was. My dad was in the same place as when I left. Lotus position, still playing himself at chess. He would play himself for hours and hours, trying to defeat his own mind. He turned around when I came in and saw the broken lunchbox. He stood up and said, "Get in the car." The ride was silent. He didn't ask me what happened. He took me to Walmart and asked me to pick a new one. I picked the same one I had before. "I'll buy you as many of these as you need, son." We went home, a normal evening, but I was too scared to sleep. The next day, I sat at the back of the bus, ready to swing, to fight, both of them, head on, but the kids didn't come. But I never saw those kids again. Keith never returned to school. His friend stopped taking the bus. In all my years of school, I never had to break another lunchbox. My dad never ever saved me from anything. He sent me to fight. Alone. Rip. Henry Tate. Build. Relevant meme.
Our kids are too coddled for the real world. What happened to all the tough kids, huh? Where did they go? This is my son's bully. I'm teaching him.
At the same time,
States, and if it holds for 2030, well, it would make the Democratic nominee for president's job of winning the Electoral College that much more difficult.
This is a big fucking deal. It is. It's a huge deal. I've mentioned this. I've hinted at it in recent videos. I mean, most explicitly.
You hang out in any of the credit card lounges? I don't know. I just, whatever my Priority Pass app tells me I can go to. But I always feel like a poor going in with Priority Pass. Because I was like, "Oh, are you a member?" And it's like, "I have Priority Pass." And they're like, ugh. They always give me this look. Like I'm part of the unwashed masses. And like, scan your Priority Pass, sir. I feel like a loser.
My conversation with Democratic strategist Mike Nellis. You should definitely check out that interview. But this is a big deal. I want to read, which is commensurate to this, an article in the New York Times published about 2 weeks ago by David Plouffe, who was President Obama's campaign strategist. Okay, very successful. He was also one of the top campaign strategists for Vice President Harris. Obviously, it wasn't enough to win. But he puts out a very thoughtful essay breaking this further down in the New York Times. So we're going to read it and discuss it, okay?
Okay.
It says Democrats will lose in 2028 unless they change course now.
Whoa!
In election year after election last year, Democrats had big wins everywhere. Voters who swung hard to Donald Trump swung hard back. These moments are incredibly rare. Trust me. It may be discordant then to believe that the party is still in crisis. It's much easier to hope that the storm has passed and that the deep unpopularity of Trump and the MAGA movement and the mess they're creating will be enough to right the ship.
They're actually making higher tier lounges because of that. True, like what I do for subs in chat. Oh, we've got too many tier 5s. Time to make a tier 6. I noticed that for, like, they have clear, but now they have, like, clear plus because too many people were getting clear. It's like, okay.
I certainly wish it were so. But to win races in politically unforgiving, even hostile territory, will require the party to overhaul its broken brand and stale agenda by elevating new faces and new leaders who promise to chart a course enough voters believe in. Why? Because to have any hope of fixing the root problems that plague our democracy and our economy, Democrats need a majority that lasts, like the New Deal coalition. At least 3, maybe more Supreme Court justices could retire over the coming.
None of those exist in Miami. We only have Admiral's Club plus Centurion Lounge. I don't give a fuck. I show up at the airport 40 minutes before my flight. I will never be in a lounge in the Miami airport.
Decade to our democracy and our economy. Democrats need a majority that lasts, like the New Deal coalition. At least 3, maybe more Supreme Court justices could retire over the coming decade. Without sustained Democratic political power and control during that period, a conservative 8-to-1 court is not out of the question. I shouldn't even have to read the rest of this article for that to absolutely chill your blood.
I'm chilled.
You know, if you follow my channel, you know how important the Supreme Court is and how important it is to reform the Supreme Court, to expand the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, in many ways, is the bottleneck. Like, think about this. I've said this before and I'll say it again.
Okay.
Imagine in 2028, we get the House, we get the Senate, and we get the White House.
Okay.
All of which is eminently possible.
Okay.
Eminently possible.
Okay.
Let's say we pass legislation to do whatever it is, to fund as politics,
Okay.
to pass single-payer health care, whatever it may be. Okay. Remember, federal law, passed by both chambers of Congress and signed by the president, can and often is challenged by by Republican attorneys general, Republican challenges that make its way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court can strike down federal law. Technically any federal law. They just have to regard it as unconstitutional. What's unconstitutional? Apparently it's whatever the court says it is. That alone should chill the fucking blood. It is necessary. Not just good, not just a sweet bonus, not just a cherry on top of the sundae. It is necessary to expand and change the balance of the Supreme Court. And what David Plouffe is arguing is right out the gate, we could see an 8-1 conservative Supreme Court. 6-3 conservative Supreme Court's bad enough. An 8-1 conservative supermajority is possible. That possibility should focus the mind.
Wait, I'm sorry, I missed the beginning. How would that be possible? Oh, that's if we lose in 2028?
Democrats have no credible path to sustain control of the Senate and the White House. After the adjustments to the Electoral College map that are likely to come in the next census, the Democratic presidential nominee could win all of the states won by Kamala Harris, plus the blue wall of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, and still fall short of the 270 electoral votes to win. Remember, we don't win by popular vote here. How many times has a Democratic candidate won popular vote but lost the presidency? We saw it in 2000 with President Bush. We saw that in 2016 with Donald Trump. The Electoral College is still there. This is equally true of the Senate. Remember this. In 2021, we had a tied Senate. Remember, because we won both Georgia Senate seats with Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. That gave us a 50-50 Senate, and Vice President Harris was able to break the tie, so it was technically a Democratic-controlled Senate.
Wow.
At that time, the Democratic bloc, the Democratic coalition, 48 Democrats and 2 independents, Angus King and Bernie Sanders, who caucused with the Democrats, they represented 40 million more Americans than the Republican coalition. Not 4, not 14, 40. That's a substantial number, okay? And we could barely squeak a tie. That's what David Plouffe is talking about. He says, I've helped lead 3 of the past 5 Democratic presidential campaigns, most recently for 107 days with Kamala Harris. There were fewer voters available to her and therefore fewer paths to victory in 2024 than in previous elections. That has to change. It can, but not with the same recipes slightly warmed over. It has to be a change people can believe in, to quote a slogan from not too long ago. The existential question now is, how do Democrats get back to playing and winning in more places? First, make our unpopular president and his vassals own everything. Higher energy and healthcare costs, higher food bills, war. The Republicans in Congress stood meekly by as Trump took a wrecking ball to our economy. They deserve the blame for it. That's you. It can't just be Trump. Anybody who's Republican who failed to check Trump, who failed to stop Trump, they're equally culpable. They're equally responsible, and therefore should suffer the political consequences just as much. Don't call them MAGA Republicans. So it's the entire Republican Party is MAGA.
True.
That's what we should be looking at.
True.
Democrats won sweeping victories in 2025, despite
true.
being less favorably viewed than the GOP. They overwhelmingly won voters who hate both parties, an echo of the double haters cohort from 2016. Why? Because MAGA has complete control. Voters will usually choose a flawed alternative to a discredited incumbent. That is task 1.
Also, another reason why I think the Democratic Party is so unpopular goes into that whole why we should be trying to build a strong center-left coalition instead of constantly trying to appease the fucking tanky losers or appease fucking moderate conservative fucking losers, right? It's because when you think of like the Democratic Party, they just don't really stand for much. The Democratic Party stands for infighting on the left, and then it stands for whatever the wacky conservatives say you are, and then whatever the wacky tankies say you are, right? Like, what is a Democrat? If I'm trying to find out what a Democrat is and I look at the media, I'm seeing what the Republicans tell me a Democrat is. And I was like, okay, well, what if I go online and look? Well, then I see what tankies say that Democrats are. But now this has gotten significantly better over the past few years, thank God. With the, like, Brian Tyler Cohen's, the Adam Mocklers. Deepak is still out there doing a generally good job. But, like, it's getting better. But Jesus. Fuck. What did I have? I didn't save it. Did they change something in this game? No, I'm just shooting poorly. Something was posted in my subreddit, and the title triggered me. It was a Majority Report thing. Don't discredit yourself. Oh yeah, true. I'm here too. You described your media bubble. Most Americans identify with Democrat than any other party. That's fine if they identify with it, but I'm pretty sure that poll after poll after poll after poll shows that there's like a huge unpopularity of the Democratic Party, even if people identify as it. Can you explain how this criticism, which is fair, is different than Hassan's critiques of the Dems? I don't even understand that. I can't even understand that. I don't know what that question means. Does anybody have any idea what I'm talking about? On my subreddit, there was a Majority Report clip posted. I just know that the title triggered the fuck out of me, but I don't remember what it was about. Oh, fuck, or maybe it was on Twitter. I think it was on the subreddit. Somebody find it.
As important as it is, it's far easier than task 2. James Baldwin wrote, quote, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced. Democrats must face, honestly, where we are and how we are perceived. That starts with offering a fresh agenda that voters can believe can make a difference in their lives, not the same stuff they heard from Democratic candidates in recent years. Each candidate is different. That said, the ideas below should find a home almost anywhere. Number 1, plan to bring down the cost. Just running against those who cause prices to skyrocket gets you a lot of the way there, but not far enough. Democrats should promise to investigate and stop price gouging. Get rid of Trump's inflation-inducing tariffs. Build millions more apartments and homes. And folks, this is huge right here. I'll stop right here. I know the abundance debate, with Ezra Klein and Derek Thompson and, the more progressive part of the left. I know that there was a lot of back and forth about abundance. I don't give a fuck what you call it. But it is true that the cost of living in blue states is difficult. It's absurd. And we do need to build millions and millions and millions and millions and millions more apartments and homes and residences than what we have. Look, blue states have a lot going for it. They're the economic powerhouse of the country. They tend to have better education, better healthcare, better business opportunities, all these things. But the reason that they're hemorrhaging residents, hemorrhaging people, isn't because they think blue states suck. It's because people don't believe that they can afford to live there.
Is that hemorrhaging people? Is that still true? Or did that largely reverse? I don't know how true that is anymore. I'm not sure. I thought that my impression was that that was had basically stymied, stopped. I also think one thing that needs to happen, and I know the party isn't there yet, and maybe it'll never be there, and I'm just an idealistic fool. Because I don't even know if most of my chat is with me on this one. We have to stop talking about like feel-good cuck things, and we have to start talking about like actually doing things. Okay, things are not expensive because the evil billionaire corporations get together and price gouge you. That was a retarded fuck populist talking point that Kamala had. It's a retarded fuck populist talking point that everybody had. Prices don't go up because corporations are greedy and they price gouge you. Okay, we can look at the stock markets, we can look at profit margins. That's just not really the case. Like if we want to address issues related to cost and whatnot, then we have to have like real policies that are actually really going to do something about it, and not these feel good like we're gonna get him on price gouging and make him stop. Like ugh. In a Matriarch event, are there going to be surveyors on the map, or do they not spawn on these events? I need a goddamn surveyor.
That's a problem. And it's a problem that blue state governments must fix, and not in 10 years. They need to fix fucking today. Today. Establish universal health care. Expand Medicare to cover home health care costs for family caregivers. The list of ideas that would save voters real money is long. Make choices, make it short, and make it sing. If it can't be communicated in an Instagram post or a 10-second TikTok, go back to the drawing board. Make it tangibly about cutting cost of living for people, not an ideological wish list. Number 2. Plan to create the jobs America needs. Candidates could be honest about their district shortages of nurses, police officers, teachers, auto mechanics, and plumbers. Through tax incentives, training, tuition assistance, and a relentless focus on what's needed, candidates should call for specific numbers of people to be hired over the next 4 years. A specific job is more credible than a generic job. This is a national economic security urgency. Auto insurance rates are skyrocketing in part because repair costs are surging because there aren't enough mechanics. Many of these jobs won't be displaced by artificial intelligence, at least not immediately. Candidates must make voters believe that they will wake up every day and work on adding these kinds of opportunities. Number 3, a plan for AI. It will play a much bigger role in the 2026 elections than many people thought just a few months ago, and it could be the dominant issue of the 2028 campaign. AI's role in our lives, society, and economy is likely to only grow, especially since we're in a battle for supremacy with China. But we have to ask questions, create some guardrails, and force tech giants to be more transparent about their data and algorithms, about how they identify deepfakes, and about their plans to mitigate the downstream negative effects of their products. Elon Musk has said that AI and robots will kill all jobs. That's a pretty negative downstream effect. Start with AI's toxic stew of higher energy costs, job losses, chatbot mental health misuse, and misinformation. Then consider how the revenue from these activities will go to the wealthiest people on the planet. The Trump administration and its allies in Congress want to give tech companies a full green light and tell the people, you're on your own. Democrats should exploit that political opening. I asked ChatGPT to spit out an ad that captured the argument. Visuals. Empty factory floors, a family sitting in the dark as power bills pile up, a young man staring blankly at a computer screen, a rocket launches, symbolizing billionaire wealth soaring, serious urgent tone. Quote, politicians told us AI would make life better, but what did it really bring? Lost jobs, sky-high energy bills, mental health in crisis, and the billionaires, they got richer while we got left behind. Every time they side with big...
Like, you understand that everything is going to make billionaires richer. Like, this is a truism that's actually true. When the economy is doing well, people that are really wealthy are going to benefit more because they own capital. They have stock. They've got companies and business, right? When the economy's doing well, they're going to be doing even more well than the other people that are doing well. And when the economy's doing poorly, they can hedge better. They're not like, fuck, I have to take 2 jobs now, or I need to forego an education for a couple years, or I can't have a kid or move out from my parents' house, right? They don't have to do that shit. Like, this is just always going to be true. Don't focus on it. Like, don't, what is it? Comparison is the thief of joy. Like, talk about redistributive policies more. Talk about, just raise the fucking tax brackets. Oh my fucking God. It's such an easy solution to our massive budget shortfalls and an easy way to make money. Just fucking raise your fucking tax brackets. And stop with this weird, like, yeah, I don't know.
Tech, they're choosing profits over people. It's time to ask, whose future are they building? Because it sure isn't ours. Tagline, hold them accountable, say no to AI greed. Not bad. Add political consultants to the endangered occupation list. A plan for reform. There's valuable ground to occupy, highlighting where the political system, regardless of which party is in power, is hurting the American people. Candidates should create an ambitious...
Yeah, that Ezra guy. Well, I don't know if you're spamming this at me as an attack or if you're spamming it ironically. The K-shaped economy. We're having a K-shaped recovery. Like, isn't every recovery basically like a K-shaped recovery? Like, not technically. I know that there are some things that can exacerbate things more than other things. So, like, for instance, like COVID might have technically had a worse impact on some workers than others because people get like there are some things that genuinely have a massive exacerbatory. There's no way that's a real word. Exacerbatory effect on wealth disparity in terms of like how the economy grows for wealthy people versus poor people. But in general, like, yeah, wealthy people are always getting wealthier at a faster rate than non-wealthy people are earning money. That's just always going to be true.
Reform agenda, term limits, and lifetime lobbying.